بس المربع كله، المربع اللي قال له اخلوه ضربوه.
I'm Abdel Hammad. I'm a consultant transplant surgeon at the Royal Liverpool University Hospital. I started a project in Gaza about 10 years ago to perform kidney transplants in Gaza. In January 2013, I did the first kidney transplant ever in Gaza. And I've been going there 2 to 3 times a year since then. So Saturday morning, around 6:30 or something like this, I wake up to the sounds of explosions. So I phoned the director of the hospital and I said, look, I've been waking up by these explosions, what's going on? He said, oh, it's all right. I mean, in Gaza, we are used to that. So that should be okay, go ahead. But half an hour later, he phoned me and he said, no, the situation is different. The hospital has to go into an emergency state and all elective operations, which my operations are obviously under that banner, it's being cancelled. We are preparing for an emergency situation. So the patients told them the situation. We said, we'll see what happens. And then after, I think, midday, probably 2 o'clock or so, my visits to Gaza are coordinated by the WHO, World Health Organization. So they phoned me and they said, look, the situation is deteriorating. We don't think where you are is safe. You have to be evacuated into a UN facility. It was frightening. I mean, when these bombs drop, the whole building shakes. I mean, you think that the building is coming down. And in fact, we left the building to go south to Rafah. In Gaza itself, we were about sometimes 12 sleeping on the floor with in the room. One day when the bombardment was so intense that the local employee of UNRWA also were housed there. So we were probably 25 or 30 of us in that room. So when we went to this base in Rafah, we were 11 in that room. And there were other people in other rooms. So in total on that floor, there were 40 people. And there were 2 toilets, no showers. It's difficult. But having said that, in both sides, we were better than the 2 million people around us. I mean, we had electricity because the UN has its fuel supplies, so it could run the generators. So we had electricity most of the time in the first building. We have some food. We have to rely on some military rations, which they have for emergencies. I think they have stored it. So we have to rely on that for a few days. We had internet at the beginning. And then when we moved to Rafah, then we had electricity was okay. Internet became a problem because they kept cutting us off telecommunications, internet, and so on. So people who have received the orders to evacuate from Gaza started to come. A lot of children, and you know, there isn't sanitation. The sewage started to come into the street, and I mean, I assume there will be outbreak of diseases within this situation. So, and some of them were also wounded. I mean, I've seen some have been wounded by the airstrikes, have burns, but the hospitals were discharging people who can walk, really, whatever the situation is. So a lot of people, I mean, some people of them, they required to be in hospital, but they couldn't be in hospital. And those needed really care and all this thing. So it was heartbreaking really to see children in this situation, people who are struggling to find water and food in that situation. Things became very difficult at the end because there wasn't food. People were, I mean, a lot of bakeries has been hit, and there is shortage of flour and fuel. So people have to queue for hours, and if they are lucky to get bread. So the situation became a little bit more chaotic. Some people started to come and try to take the supplies which is inside the stores. So the UN decided that it is unsafe for us to stay in that situation. And then we were moved to another location, which is not too far from that, but another location where they thought that we were safe. In that location, unfortunately, the electricity and water was a problem. After 4 weeks, we were told that we were on a list allowed to leave through Rafah crossing.
We are here in no man's land between the Palestinian side and the Egyptian side of Rafah crossing, and we took the bus from the Palestinian side to the Egyptian side, and at the gate they say we have to wait till we allowed in. We've been now waiting for 2 hours. We were in the bus, but it's very hot, so we are now around the bus in this area waiting for green light from the Egyptians to allow us in.
So we have to go back. We went back, and then we tried again the next morning, Thursday. So we arrived 7 o'clock in the morning into there. At the beginning, they told us those who are on yesterday's list have to wait till people from today's list are processed. We managed to get into the crossing itself. We were processed by the Palestinian side, and we were on the bus on our way to Egypt, and arrived in Cairo about 4 o'clock in the morning. So I looked at the flights, and I booked a flight to London that evening, in fact. I think it was a big relief for my family and myself, I mean, to be with them again and to be safe here. I mean, this is really, really a big relief. My family was very worried about my safety and all these things. I can't really remove the images I've seen there, think about the people I left there. It's been difficult, really. I mean, I'm on just following everything happening there, phoning my colleagues, what's going on, what's happening. I didn't really realize that it will take me some time to readjust. I thought that I'll be back to normality. That's my thoughts at the beginning, but it's been a difficult journey. Unfortunately, we all stood watching what is happening, and we let the situation deteriorate to this level. Also, my patients who are the kidney failure patients, those are in a grave situation because the Shifa hospital stopped providing dialysis because they ran out of electricity and water. Those patients will die if they have no dialysis. So the situation really is grave, and the only way to address that is to allow humanitarian, as the UN have said, and WHO and the Red Cross, we need substantial aid allowed into Gaza, which includes fuel, includes medical equipment, medical supplies, food, and water. And for this to be supplied into Gaza, people who are providing the aid, distributing the aid, and treating people need to be, they need to feel safe to do that. And the only way for that to happen is a ceasefire, or whatever they want to call it, to allow this to happen. The situation for the population there is really a catastrophe, and we are just watching it unfolding, unfortunately.